So I had the wonderful opportunity to sit down with a truly great person and one of my best friends in the world, Sean Sabina, and talk about his career, Realtor Nation style, and how that got off the ground and what he's working on now and what he's looking for in the future, and asked a whole bunch of questions within the realm of what I used to do with the Realtor Nation podcast. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please follow me on social media at ENS Hoover, and also like and subscribe to the channel. The support is much appreciated. Enjoy the video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ENS Hoover Show. I'm here with my good buddy, Sean Sabina. How you doing, Sean?
I'm good. Yourself?
Not too bad. And I'm going to be interviewing him today in a little bit of my throwback Realtor Nation style interview. For those of you that don't know Sean, he is a licensed realtor with my brokerage, the Hoover Real Estate Advisors. Has had a really good first couple years in the business, and he's just starting his team and stuff like that. Anything you want to add to that, Sean, before we get started?
So right off the bat, guys, I do my show, which is called Real Talk. So him pulling up the script over here is throwing me off a lot. But let's go with it.
Hey, you had your. We just recorded a show for your channel, and you had your notes. I have my notes. There's no difference there. The only difference is my notes are electronic, and your notes are physical.
Old school.
Old school. You're a little bit older than me, so you're allowed to do that.
So realistically, guys, I don't got anything to add other than I appreciate being on here. So thanks for the invite, first of all.
So well, how do people find you?
You can find me on all sorts of social media outlets, and you're basically going to search Sabina Houses. On Instagram, Facebook, you'll find me as Sean Sabina Realtor. YouTube, it's Real Talk. So all different outlets, you'll find me either as Sean Sabina Realtor or Sabina Houses, one or the other. So
very cool. I'm going to pretend like I don't know you as well as I know you when I ask you a lot of these questions so that we can get some genuine feedback and answers.
This isn't going to work well.
It's going to work. It's going to work just fine. So, tell me about your real estate business and, what was it like getting into the business, and then what have you done since you've been in the business?
Okay, so actually next month will be my third full year, so at the end of September. That being said, you've seen every bit of it, so you kind of have an idea that the first year I did 15 transactions. I did somewhere a little bit over $2 million in production my first year. And you remember me at the very end of it. I was a mess. I thought I was horrible. I thought, okay, I don't know if I can make it. I was a mess about it. That being said, I went into the second year with a different determination. I went into it with I'm going to say yes to everything. And I did for the most part until I got extremely busy and couldn't say yes to anything else. And I would have to say at that point that, okay, I'll wait, but I'm not going to say no. So that being said, the next year I did almost 30 transactions for just a little bit over $4 million. So you can see the growth trajectory. This year I'm it's been a weird year with the COVID and the way the market was working with residential clients. But I'm sitting at 20 transactions, just under $3 million, I want to say right now, with a little more than a quarter of a year left. But I've also changed my focuses. You already brought up about just starting the team. I've honestly started doing my broker's classes. I started the team. I also started taking over the social media for Deacon Hoover and onboarding new agents.
Yep.
That being said, since I've done that, a lot of the newer agents have also started to correspond with me, asking me questions. So I kind of feel like I've taken on a little bit of a leadership coaching-wise. But it's just been busy and different. And once again, my business went from me being an individual, which for any agent coming in, if you're looking between team and looking between individual is very rewarding if you succeed, but it is not easy to necessarily succeed depending on what you have going on around you. But that being said, I've changed my philosophy this year, and I've kind of been looking towards building new agents, coaching my own team, and growing myself to the next level. Whatever the next level is, I'm not really sure yet.
So you maybe haven't been 100% focused on just selling houses. You're more building and planning for the future with this year.
Yeah, right around probably I want to say March, April, May, somewhere in that little late end of March, beginning of May area. I really started to look at it differently. Like, okay, I want to do this, but I also have other goals. And once again, me and you have talked about this. I don't have the goals of necessarily opening a brokerage or anything like that, but I like to help others. So the more I can teach myself is the more I can help others. So, and I think it was Alex who taught me this. It was one of the first things he coached me on when I started was, remember, you're learning now and he's giving back to the business. Remember when you're 2, 3, 5 years down the line, remember the business and give back to the business. Don't just think of yourself and take.
Yeah.
So
if you give, you shall receive, and you know, vice versa, right? So yeah, it's definitely. I mean, the funny thing is, I do remember when, and you know, I'm trying to ask you questions, even though I probably know the answers to some of these questions.
I know you do.
I do remember when you had those moments of doubt of like if you're actually good at this and stuff, which is after having 15 sales in your first year. It's almost like mind blowing because, you know, my first year I think I did 2 sales, right? You know, and you know, I think that you know, that could speak to number one, you were full time.
I would say there was different expectations of what you were doing versus what I was doing and things like that when we both started. But
yeah, you were full time. There's definitely a lot of differences. You know, I think that you know, you probably had some better mentors that helped that and lined up. And you just, you know, you were more mature, 100% more mature. Like back then, I was like, I thought I was the king of every type of sales ever, right? And then I got in and hit a wall and failed miserably, and you know, and I had to reevaluate, and you know, it really wasn't until I met Alex that my career took off. So it's great that you had such a great first year. Why do you think you had such a great first year? Like, what do you think the main reason is?
Well, you just answered the question. It was my coaching. It was the people I had behind me. And once again, this is why I said this is not going to work.
It's going to work. We're
working. Nonetheless, you already know the answer. I'll tell the answer. It's because for what you guys would do for me, I was also the agent that was at the office 5 days a week. I was also the agent that came and would ask you questions. I would never call you on the off time, but I would come to the office and ask you questions. I would go ask Alex questions in his little office. But I was always picking people's brains and learning little details of what to do. And I was always putting myself around.
Yeah.
To be helpful for some reason or another. I knew I was new, and I knew the only way to get better was to be around people who were doing well at it.
Absolutely. I think that's huge. If you just expect to get your license and never go to the office and don't do training, and you're probably not going to be very successful, right? It's just not going to...
You better have a large line of people waiting to work with you, huh?
Right. Absolutely. You better have a huge sphere of influence,
right.
For sure. Tell me about your team.
Okay, so we only started back at the end of June. I really only made it official in August because I wanted to train them up and get them going already. But I have 2 ladies, both moms, Christine and Brittany. Christine works for UPMC. Brittany is actually a teacher at Keystone Oaks. Both are doing phenomenal. Brittany already has her first listing lined up, and Christine already has a contract, so that closes next month.
So why'd you take on 2 team members versus only taking on 1 to start?
Because originally it was going to just be 1, but I'm very picky. I don't just take anybody. You kind of have to match what I'm looking for and what match is working well with me. And not be exactly the same. I'm not expecting anybody to come in and be me, or I don't want to be them. But you kind of have to be able to work with each other, and the vibe has to be similar to what the idea is. So I met Brittany months ago, and I knew Brittany. I knew her husband. So I already knew Brittany, and the thought process was already there. And then doing the social media onboarding, coaching, things like that, I got to meet Christine as well. And I loved Christine as well because they have very similar go-getter personalities. The only difference is, and I'm learning to say this is not necessarily as different as I thought it was, but Brittany I thought was more fiery than Christine, but I'm starting to learn that's not necessarily true. They're very similar, but I left that meeting with Christine and I'm like, okay, can I pull off taking 2 people? I had enough conversations with you about this and just determining, and I sat down with them and told them, hey, I'm going to end up taking you both on. It wasn't my plan, but you 2 are both people I want to work with. and I think I can help for your future endeavors. I can make you better, and you'll make me better. Because for me, I mean, the benefit I'm getting out of the team is it's giving, eventually once the teaching's done, or not even done, but just scaling back a little bit, I'm going to get a little more time with my kids. So that's the benefit for me. I know people say about the money, but business, things like that. For me, it's just, I would like some time back with my kids. My kids are like your kids. They're only young ones. I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. The 5-year-old literally just started kindergarten today.
So you're going to use your team to get some of your work-life balance back.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's my ultimate goal.
And if your income grows, great. If it stays the same, okay, cool.
That's fine.
That's fine too.
I'm fine with my income growing by my own reasoning. I'm not worried about that. I just need to be able to get some time back. So, especially with doing the social media onboarding now and things of that nature, and some things I want to do down the line, some other different things. For me to grow a team is going to benefit me in the long run. So,
what's your favorite thing about the real estate industry?
Oh man, people, and I mean clients. I honestly, and this is where I come in, and you know me, I'm a residential. I did some investment real estate agent, but I'm mostly residential, and I love first-time home buyers. And the pure and simple fact is, they come in, and 90% of the time they're very grateful for what you're doing for them. Especially the fact that I sit there and I go into detail about everything for them, and I defend them in every corner. But first-time home buyers, I absolutely love it, and the sense of gratitude I get at the very end of helping them just makes my day. So.
You've had multiple people say that you were the best thing that happened to them during an entire year.
2020 and 2021 so far.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. That's a glowing review that you can put on social media. You can share about, and then if you're ever in a competitive agent situation, you can be like, hey, go read my reviews. And don't get me wrong, every agent has good reviews, but actually read the reviews, and you'll see what separates me from the competition.
My wife will say this because she gets to see me when I first read the reviews, and I read every one of them in full detail. She gets to see me, and she gets to see my smile and how happy I get when I read some of those reviews, because, man, when somebody tells you you're the best thing that happened to them in a year, how would you feel?
Yeah.
That just makes it worth it, is what that does.
It's pretty awesome, man.
So more than the money, more than anything, that right there makes it worth it when you know you affected somebody's life in such a way.
What's your least favorite thing about the real estate business?
There's a few things. Some of them I don't want to bash myself because I feel like I'll take some criticism for it. I wish people would relax a little bit more. I understand the business, and I understand everything is tied up in time, and there's money, and there's contracts, but way too often people overstress themselves, and they take it into the transaction without the understanding that, hey, the end game is the same thing. Like if I'm the buyer's agent and you're a seller's agent, our end game is the same thing, to get to the closing table and take care of our clients. To the best of our ability.
Yeah, we're on the same team technically. We're trying to get this thing closed so we can both get paid.
Yes, so what drives me crazy is when people don't look at it that way. They look at it from, okay, I'm defending my seller. I from the buyer side, I get that. I get your job is to defend your seller, just like mine is to defend my buyer. But at the end of the day, we need to find a mutual happy part. We're on the same team here to get it all done.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a stressful thing. It doesn't need to be a calling somebody out. Like, oh, say the lender. We talk about a lender. Calling the lender out, calling the title company out, throwing people. It doesn't have to be that. And so often I run into different occasions where I run into people that's all they want to do is they want to throw everybody else under the bus.
They got the keys to that bus. They want to run some people over,
And that's what drives, and once again, my personality, that's just not in my personality. No matter, even if I'm frustrated with somebody, I'm not going to throw you under the bus. What's the resolution? What can we do to get to the end point? Works for everybody. No need to fight, no need to say this is their fault or we should have done this. No, what do we need to do?
Right, what do we need to do to get this closed?
Pretty much, that's all it is. And once again, that's probably my biggest almost pain point I get is just dealing with people who don't see that point of view.
From the time your alarm goes off in the morning to the time you go to sleep, what does a normal day in the life of Sean look like?
Well, I wake up to Lion King, Na Sapenya, as my alarm at 5 a.m.
I would want to smash my phone.
How do you think I get up at 5 a.m. every morning? Like clockwork.
I do. My watch vibrates. That's how I get up.
Oh, I wouldn't wake up to that. I need something waking me up. And Lion King seemed like the most relative one because, you know me, I'd listen to rock music. If I put a rock song or something, I'd be waking up the whole house. So, but no, waking up to that, I get up at 5 a.m. I usually go downstairs, I take my medicine, and I get my wife's coffee ready, and then I go to the computer, check the emails out, things like that. I'm trying to get back into my walks, which I used to do at 5 a.m. I used to go on a 5-mile walk at 5 a.m. But that's something I'm trying to get back into the routine of. That hasn't been as easy as it was. But realistically, 5 a.m. is when I wake up. 6 a.m. is 6 to 6:30 is roughly when either my 5-year-old or my 2-year-old wakes up. 7 a.m. is when everybody else in the house wakes up. Get the kids rounded up, go get my grandmother who watches my kids, get them all taken care of, and then I get myself ready and head to the office usually if I don't have clients or things like that. Depending on what day of the week it is, I usually have either a team meeting set up for the team to be able to go through training. You've seen me there at 9 a.m. First thing in the morning, I'll have my 2 team members there and, okay, let's go over what we're going to teach you this week, and then let's go over what the expectations are for the team. From that point, I go into responding to my own emails and follow up with my own stuff, into also lead generation, follow up with old clients, trying to find new clients. Usually from the hours of about 4 till 6 is when I'll schedule showings, maybe even to 7. Yeah, obviously I'll throw them in there in the mix if I have to throughout the day if somebody can't make a later time frame. But I try to stick to that consistency. And the reason why is I want to be done by 6:30 on any given day, because once again I get back to the 2 kids. I do want to be a part of their life, so that's where my balance of work, family has to come in. So when it comes to around 6 o'clock, I like to be home by 6:30 or so, because I like to see them for an hour or so before it's bedtime. After bedtime, I spend some time with the wife, some personal time, check my emails before bed. Thank you for that idea. And usually I sleep by 11:30. So.
When you talk about not scheduling other appointments throughout the day, you're trying to time block and keep your showings to 4 to 6 p.m. Why is that? Why would you not schedule something at 1 o'clock and then you'd have less to do between 4 and 6, maybe you get home at 5:30?
Because between those earlier times are better times for me to lead generate.
Okay. So
it's a lot of people end up wanting to do showings between that 4 to 6 time block because they're getting done with work.
Interesting.
So
why do you think 87% of agents fail by the 5-year mark?
Because probably about 85% of the market of agents we have right now is not what I like to call part-time agents, but standby agents. And a standby agent to me is somebody who is taking care of their family, taking care of their family's, here you go, let me hand this over to you, because they're a friend of the family. They're not people who are actually in the market trying to learn and better themselves. They are there just to have their license and take whatever falls into their lap, basically. That's typically my reason, because they're not there to learn the business. They're not there to grow in the business. They're there just to take a commission check, basically.
So you think a large percentage of that is just people that give up on renewing their license and they're just doing 1 or 2 transactions a year?
Yeah, and what happens is they end up running into the fact that, oh, I have my license, but I only had 1 transaction 2 years ago. Why should I keep it? Don't get me wrong, it's hard. The business is hard, but I feel like a lot of the business that leaves is for that reason. The other reason I would tell you, and this stems back to my beginning, I started as a solo agent. I was lucky, however. I had a good mentor in yourself and Alex. So I was lucky. Not enough solo agents come in and have that same luck. So once again, when you're not getting the right coaching, when you're not realizing how things need to be done or what you should be doing, kind of hard to do that all by yourself when you've never done it before.
Makes sense.
So that would be my other thought process behind people failing and why they don't succeed is they're probably going solo. They don't know what to ask their broker or whoever they're using as a mentor, or maybe they just don't have a mentor at all.
That's great advice. Go get a mentor.
Yep. So, but I would see that being, other than the standby agents kind of just letting their license go, I would see that as the reason why.
If you were to start back over from day one again, what changes would you make?
Being 3 years now, and I can look back to that point, I don't know if I'd want to change anything. Because I put myself through a harder experience than just jumping on a team, and I feel like I'm better for it. I hate to say it because everybody feels like they can do something different to make themselves better, and I could sit here and tell you what I could have done to make myself better. However, when I stop and think about it and I think about my future, do I think that's the right scenario? And that's where I say I don't want to change anything, because putting yourself through the harder stuff, like we have a great agent, Matt McAdoo, and he's doing it solo. Yes, he has you as a mentor and you're coaching him. Alex is too. But he's putting himself through it as a solo agent, which he has all the time. This is his full-time job.
Yep.
And I say that because there's people in the office who should be on a team because it's not a full-time job for them, or it's something that they need additional help. And you should be on a team. But somebody who puts themselves through the ringer, puts themselves through the hard time, is going to come out, if they come out on the other side, they're going to be 10 times better for it. And that's why I wouldn't change it.
Would you have gotten your license quicker if you were to start back over?
Oh, man.
I'm just asking.
My scenario is different than a lot of other people's scenarios.
I'm just asking questions here, Sean.
I should have. Once again, my scenario is different. Just for anybody who doesn't know, I worked for T-Mobile. I was a store manager. I was the manager that they couldn't fire. They actually had to pay me a severance to get rid of me. That being said, I also, with that severance, got unemployment. If I would have got my license as soon as I quit there, or whatever time frame, that's when my unemployment would have just said, "Yep, you're done," automatically. So my goal and philosophy was, okay, let me learn as much as I can throughout this time frame while I'm getting this, while I have this as well, and then let's go into it. Looking back, yeah, I probably should have got my license a few months earlier than I did.
Hey, you still got it quicker than Laura.
Oh, jeez. We're bringing up names now.
I'm just saying. You're still working on Laura. She's still working on it. She started before you.
Well, actually, we have another agent in the brokerage who started roughly at the same time as me, Adam Leave.
Yeah.
We got it, I want to say, like 2 weeks separating each other.
And you're both killing it. Both doing really well.
Something must be in that T-Mobile water.
Yeah. Drink the T-Mobile water. How many hours per week do you put into your business?
Oh, man, so...
Estimate.
It's so hard because we're all over the place. Like, it's weird, and I think you used to say it to me all the time, is you're doing so many different things. Like, you're having regular conversations with people that technically is work. But does it feel like work? Not all the time. If I want to go by technicality, I would tell you I'm probably putting 50, 60 hours in a week. If I want to tell you based off of how it feels on a daily basis, probably 30.
Yeah, I mean, all your email time, all your, if you were to add all that up and phone calls you take and text messages, you're never off. It's a 24/7 job, right?
The problem is those phone calls, 90% of those phone calls are me BSing with people, even when they're clients. They're nothing super important. Sometimes they are, but not typically. Like, I took a call right before here with one of my clients, and we were just joking around. It was a 5-minute call where we were just joking around about his closing coming up in the next few days.
It's still work.
It's work. Once again, it's work. If I'm going to look at it from that perspective, 60, 70 hours a week. If I'm looking at it from the real perspective of that doesn't come across as work in my mind because I'm enjoying it, I don't have an issue with it.
Right. 30
hours of actual.
That's probably the key there is that you, for the majority of what you do, you enjoy what you do.
Right.
And that's definitely, to me, that's the key. You got to enjoy what you do and love what you do. I think that there was moments where we loved working, at T-Mobile and loved working together, but the job itself we didn't love. We loved the people we were with,
Well, let's get back, because we talk about culture at Deacon Hoover, and a lot of that came from our culture beforehand at T-Mobile. We both will respectively say this, that we had a great district manager who took the time to mold people to what he liked, and what he liked was pretty successful for the most part.
Yeah.
We have, I brought up Adam already. Adam was one of us as a manager there. Laura, you brought up Laura. Well, I'm still waiting on the license part, but
yeah,
Laura does her own thing. I think, I talked about Brittany, my team agent. Her husband, Ray, was a store manager at T-Mobile as well. And that was all revolves around Russ. I'll bring his name up. But he was just like we have Alex now. He was the Alex before Alex.
Yeah. To this day, while he might have fired me, I don't think he wanted to. Right?
I don't think he did, no.
But I still, to this day, have immense respect for him, and he did he helped me grow a lot through a very egistical moment of my life. And,
you guys don't know about this.
No, not a lot of people know about that. But he's great, and that's what you try. I think all the good people in the world are going to try and help, everybody else, right? Like if I know somebody, I'm going to try as best as I can to help improve them and motivate them. And
you have. I've seen you do it. Not just myself, but I've watched you with other people do it.
And I think that comes from the fact that I've had those people in my life. I've been on the other side of it, right? Where I just needed an opportunity and I just needed a little push and a little help. And, that's important to have. So I hear this saying all the time in our business, you got to spend money to make money. Tell me the best free way to generate business.
The best free way?
The best free way to generate business.
Work harder. Go talk to people.
Network is what you're saying.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay.
Just talk to people. I could talk to somebody in a grocery line and almost find business. That's what it is. If you don't want to talk to people, then go spend some money. They'll send you leads. And I pay some money to Zillow, so I'm not sitting here bashing that. I pay some money to Zillow. I have a partnership with Redfin, which I guess that's not free. You pay money at the end.
You pay it at the end versus upfront. Yeah.
But realistically, I love social media, and you know that because coaching it and everything. But social media is a great way to generate business because for the people who don't want to sit there and talk to everybody and keep following up, it's a great way to stay consistent with people and let them see what you're doing without having to be on the phone 24/7 calling people. And that's actually when I joke around with the agents, the new agents coming in, when I'm training them, I probably tell them that. I'm like, don't expect this to be some major lead generation system for you within the first 5 years. Don't expect that. What you should be expecting is your lead generation is your sphere, your circle. What's the best way to keep in contact with them consistently? Social media.
Yeah.
Make a post. It doesn't even have to be about real estate. Make it about you for the first few and then post something about real estate. You, real estate. You, real estate.
Yeah, you want to slip it in there.
Yep, just so they remember what you're doing. Oh, so when it does come their time, Sean does real estate. He's doing pretty well. I saw a few of his things.
I saw Sean posted a thing about him being the best thing that happened to somebody in 2021.
Right, just those little things, just every so once in a while. Not always about it, but every so once in a while, throw it in there, mix it in. But be personal. I hate that when people just come in and try to be fake about things or act a certain way. Be personable, be yourself, and then remind people.
Our industry changes pretty much day to day. Where do you see our industry in 10 years?
Honestly, I never really thought this one through. Man, that's a good question. I honestly have never thought about the future part of it.
Okay.
I know, I mean, I've seen Amazon talking about all their Amazon real estate. I've seen the 3D videos. I definitely think it's throughout COVID went through to a virtual world where we're doing more FaceTime showings, things of that nature, Zoom calls, all that stuff. I can't see it ever getting to that though. Real estate is such a touchy-feely thing where I could do a FaceTime and some people are going to buy through that route, but you still want to see the house. You don't just want to buy a house without actually walking through it and getting that feel.
We did have some people through COVID that were...
Oh, I know I did. I had a few of them myself. To me, at the end of the day, real estate is such a feeling you get when you walk in the house that it's hard for me to see that virtual world be 100% a thing.
I don't think it'll ever be 100% a thing.
It's hard for me to see it be a 50% a thing.
I could see it getting to that 30 to 50%, especially with things like Matterport out there.
I guess that's...
I could see...
It's still not the feel when you walk in the house. It's still...
Yeah, but I could see people like maybe, starting to do like, virtual tour only until they get an offer that's acceptable, and then they have, I could see something like that.
I can see that too.
What about like, you talk about Amazon. Do you think there's any threats with like Amazon, Zillow taking over the industry and like getting rid of us agents?
Zillow is definitely trying, as much as they don't want to say that, and once again, I give them some of my money, as much as they don't want to say it, that's the vibe I get from them with all the stuff they're trying to buy. What did they just buy? Who did they buy? It was a big one too, was it?
Yeah, they bought a real estate company.
Yeah. But they're definitely trying to get that route. They're
no doubt.
definitely going that route. Zillow would make me nervous, but once again, you still have to put 100% perfection behind that, and I don't know if that's their game plan or if they're just trying to basically like guerrilla marketing. Here we are, Zillow.
Yeah, let's cover
everything.
Let's cover as much avenues as we can and get as much revenue streams as we can as a big company.
At end of the day, though, is that's going to hurt the little companies like us if they end up getting to the point they want to. Because I can eventually see them possibly wanting to start buying little companies.
I think that's probably their best entry point is to, if they're going to start actually opening up a brokerage and getting into it, is they're going to go after the companies that are not under any kind of a franchise agreement.
Yeah.
And they're just going to buy up, every market that they can. And
here's the catch, and I use this company lightly, but say like a Remax that everybody knows of, and it's out there, it's a big name. I can't see Zillow overtaking that.
No.
They're just out there and they're too much of a name for people.
It'd have to go pretty far down the franchise list, I would think. But
and I'm not going to say any names, but some of the smaller brokerages locally that have one or two agents, could I see Zillow going in there and saying, hey, we'll offer you X amount for your brokerage and your agents? And can I see those guys doing it? Yeah. Or I could see them going the route of Redfin, where Redfin hires their own people, pays them a salary, and shoots it out that way. I can see them going that route too.
What does retirement look like for you, Sean?
I'm going to go work at Disney World.
You're going to go work at Is that a joke or is that real?
I told you I like to greet people. I'm going to be one of those guest service people.
You're going to be one of those guest service people at Disney.
Yep.
More power to you, my friend. More power to you.
No, realistically, it's going to be traveling. Me and the wife always want to travel, always like going places. Would eventually love to own somewhere down in Myrtle Beach, North Carolina, South Carolina, somewhere in that area, and just relax. Yeah, the Disney thing I always joke around with her about saying, because once again, huge Disney fan, I know you're not, but I am. I always joke around with her saying, that's my retirement job. I'm going to be a greeter at Magic Kingdom right on Main Street.
I mean, I could totally see like when I'm like 80, if I live that long, being like a greeter at Walmart. Just to I just want to get out of the house. And I just want to talk to people. You know what I mean? Like, and I would make it fun and I'd goof off and. Yeah, I can see it,
Well, that's what I say, because I feel
Disney,
like...
a little too crazy for
For
me.
you, but I love Disney. Just to be at the Magic Kingdom, I love it. Just walk in, oh, there's the castle. But I told her the other night, I'm like, that being said, I wouldn't want to just be at Magic Kingdom. I would want to go to Epcot and work in the World Showcase and all those different places.
Tell me one of the funniest stories of your career.
Geez, you're putting me on the spot with some of these. You could have at least given me some homework.
These are Realtor Nation questions. You could have went back and listened to an episode. You knew what was coming.
Technically, you only asked me yesterday. Can we do my show too?
That's true. We get 24 hours of research.
Technically.
Nothing humorous coming.
No, nothing super humorous. Like we do enough pranks around the office. Between making, what was it, Abraham Lincoln stare at you all day, and then you left them.
And then drawing faces on Abraham Lincoln.
Drawing faces on Abraham, posting faces on Abraham Lincoln, hanging signage all over your office.
Yeah.
We play pranks all the time. In terms of with a client, I'm trying to think of anything that was super hilarious.
Nothing you've seen in a house, nothing funny, huh?
I won't go funny. I can go creepy if you want creepy.
Sure. Give me a creepy story then.
So, probably, last summer. Right before, probably closer to April, back in April. I was showing a house in Verona. Big, monstrous house. Massive house. Had one of the third floors, no heat or anything. Okay, so it had the tile ceilings. So walk in, me and my client. And I think he had somebody with him, his dad, his uncle, somebody was with him. Nonetheless, one of the tiles had a lining of what would look like water damage, but it didn't look like water. So we're sitting there, we poke it, it's solid, nothing wrong. We lift the towel up. One of my clients reaches his hand in there and he feels the bag. There's a bag sitting right on this spot. This is no kids can watch the show, right?
God, I don't think so.
So he reaches over. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not pulling that." So this is during COVID. We had our gloves, we had our masks. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna double glove this because I have no idea what I'm expecting here. So I put 2 gloves on. I reach in, I grab it. Yeah, whoever's personal pleasure toys were just sitting there, and the lining that you saw was. The extra.
Personal pleasure toys.
Yep. So instead of cleaning them out or anything, because it was one of those pocket ones. Yeah. Instead of cleaning it out, he must have just, I'll sit this here.
Thankfully, you were wearing gloves.
Yes. So if you ever see weird signs, make sure you put your gloves on. So once again, wasn't necessarily super funny, but...
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty funny too, actually.
But when you the rest of this was okay. So the really creepy part was there was like some exercise stuff, but could have came across as sex toys basically. Because we started after seeing the stuff, we started to look around the room, and we started to look at some of the stuff around the room. We're like, and you have to watch the video for this, guys. By the way, to see my face. But that was literally me and the client were like, I wonder really what's going on up here on this massive 3rd floor house. Nonetheless, my client actually ended up liking the house but didn't get that house.
Interesting.
So,
I would say that was at least an entertaining story. We'll go with that. All right, so the Blitz round. Last 5 questions for you.
Oh, jeez.
Quick answers, okay?
Yes, no, yes, no, yes.
Well, there's no yeses or nos. You still got to have an answer. What's your favorite technology tool?
My phone.
Oh, give me a little bit more than that.
What?
Something more than your phone. What's on your phone? What's your favorite tool within your phone?
Right now, probably TubeBuddy to watch, working on our YouTube channels.
Okay.
That's probably the one I'm using the most right now.
What's your favorite real estate book?
7 Levels of Communication.
Great one. If you were not an agent, what would you be?
Stay-at-home dad.
Okay.
Not everybody's going to say that, but that's, you know me, and how my love for my kids.
Yeah, no doubt.
If I could financially do it, that's what I would do.
What's your favorite hobby?
Jeez. Real estate. I don't have any hobbies anymore. No, our YouTube shows actually probably.
Penguins?
Penguins, but that's my sports team. I guess you can call it a hobby.
What is your dream vacation? Something you've never done that you want to do.
So me and my wife have talked about this before. We both want to go to Australia. We just travel the country there. So.
Groinky.
Yep.
I don't know why. Anytime I think Australia, I just think about a crocodile hunter or whatever. Steve, what was his name?
Oh, Steve. Wow, you just made me forget it. Irwin. Steve Irwin.
Yep.
That and Iceland. I like Iceland as well.
Very cool. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you doing this with me.
Pleasure. Thank you again.
Keep kicking butt and taking names, and I'm sure we'll have you back on the channel at some point, too.
Eventually. I don't go away. I stay around.
All right. Well, follow us at Sabina Houses on social media, at ENS Hoover. Subscribe to all of our channels. Real Talk with Sean.
Yep.
And obviously you're watching this on the channel, so subscribe to this channel and check out our Two Dads Drink show, which is our goof off fun show that we do. Where
we goof off, but now we're starting to have fun with it. So
yeah, we joke around, we talk sports, and we drink whiskey. Maybe get into some other drinking stuff at some point.
Funny enough, the only thing we don't talk about is real estate. So
that was the main point of it. All right, guys. Deuces.
Be real.